Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
For a second straight night, the Astros took it to the Indians early and then held on by the skin of their teeth to make it 2 straight at Progressive Field. The man in charge of shutting down Houston tonight, Carlos Carrasco, is the Tribe's nominee for the 2016 Roberto Clemente Award. Today, we honor the late Pirate Hall of Famer for his contributions both on and off the field. Next on Sports Time, Ohio. From Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, Major League Baseball pays tribute to the humanitarian Roberto Clemente, who also happened to be a Hall of Fame baseball player. And that is certainly not lost on a guy like Francisco Lindor, who hails from the same homeland as Clemente, Puerto Rico. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. We do have a baseball game to play here tonight, but we do have to stop for a moment and pause and reflect back on what this day means to Major League Baseball and specifically to Latin American players. Because, Rick, you think back, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947. 8 years later, Roberto Clemente came along, and for the people of Puerto Rico, there's never been anyone better.
I don't know if there ever will be. He was one of the most exciting players going. He had a great arm. He could hit for power. He could run like the wind. And, I mean, he could do just about anything you wanted him to do on the baseball field. You know, 15-time All-Star. This guy could hit balls out of the strike zone. As a matter of fact, my dad took me and my 2 brothers to Forbes Field, where I saw my first baseball game. Roberto Clemente played in it. He hit a home run, and I watched him ever since then. That was back in 1963, and they ended up winning the 1971 World Series. He was the MVP. What a man, what a baseball player, and just what a person.
And Carlos Carrasco is the Indians' Roberto Clemente nominee for that award, and he'll get to start tonight against Houston in a game the Indians now desperately need to win.
They really do, and Carrasco has to go out and pitch like he has been pitching. In his last 6 games, he has struck out at least 8 batters or more in it. It's been 9, 8, and 11 the last 2 times through his rotations. He's pitched very well against Houston in his career. He needs to go out and throw zeros on the board and hope his offense can pick him up. He's only started 4 times against him. He's 2-1 with a 2.05. He'll be matched up against the big right-hander Doug Fister. 15 starts in his career, 5-3. He pitched 7 innings against the Indians this year. That was that 16-inning ball game. He had a no decision but gave up 2 earned runs.
And that's the matchup for tonight. We'll be back with the first pitch coming up next. Plus, Andre Knott will talk with Carlos Carrasco and get his thoughts on being nominated for the Roberto Clemente Award. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by your local Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Indians and Astros coming your way shortly from Progressive Field. Welcome into our Sports Time Ohio studio here in downtown Cleveland. I'm Ashley Collins. The Tigers and the White Sox were in action earlier today at U.S. Cellular Field. Avisail Garcia hit a go-ahead single against his former team in a 4-run 8th inning as the White Sox beat Detroit 7-4 to keep the Tigers a game out of the final AL wildcard spot. With the loss, Detroit now sits 5 games back behind the Tribe in the AL Central standings. Also tonight, Steven Strasburg returning from the DL. We'll keep an eye on that Nationals game and look at some others around the American League. We'll go back out to Progressive Field now with Matt and Rick.
Ashley, we always like good news. Anytime you have good news, you just come on down and bring it to us. We love it. Indians and the Astros. Well, we could use a little good news where this series is concerned. So far, it's been all Houston with a game tonight and the matinee to wrap it up tomorrow. Indians now hoping for a split with Carlos Carrasco on the hill tonight. With more on that, let's go down to Andre Knox.
Well, Matt, let's start with this. This is Roberto Clemente Day. We've been talking about wristbands a lot in this series, right? We talked about Alan Ashby once having one. Right. Talk about some of our guys having them. Check out what some of the Indians players have tonight, as they have Roberto Clemente wristbands tonight on their wrist. All the black wristbands you see, all the guys have those, and they will wear them, and they were all excited to have them. Now, when you talk about the Indians nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award, it's Carlos Carrasco, who will be on the mound tonight. He takes that as an honor that his name can be placed with Roberto Clemente, but he also likes where he's at when it comes to his pitches. Here's tonight's Here's Right sounds of the game.
I think is the day, the way that I feel. But you know what? Every pitch is good. I've been working really hard with Mickey Galloway, and I think I change a little bit something my mechanic, just my glove. I just change a little bit the position of my glove. That's it. But every pitch is been good. Fastball command, my changeup, even my curveball is really good, and my slider too.
When I say the Roberto Clemente Award, what does Roberto Clemente mean to you first?
You know what? Is a lot. The Roberto Clemente, he did a lot of stuff. I feel honored to be, to have one of the award. But I think the more important, help the community. I think that's really matters, and that's what I need to continue to do.
You have the book drive. I know you go to hospitals constantly. Are you feel like you're fulfilling what you should fulfill by doing everything you've done so far?
You know what? I feel great doing that. Even the whole season, I just feel great to go into school. It's gonna be weird, but I learned to read because I had to read those kids, so I learned a little bit more. And on the same part, I learned to read and try to give a good experience to those kids, the same way that I did when I was a kid. Someone come to my school and read to us, and that's the way that I do it right now.
Big year off the field for you. You become an American citizen. You're up for the Roberto Clemente Award. Got to feel good to kind of hit some of the other things outside of baseball for you.
You know what? It's something that I put in my. That's my goal. First baseball, to do my job in here, outside the field, to do they help the community, they help those kids. And I think I had a lot of stuff this year. My citizen, Roberto Clemente, the way we play right now, adding my new baby. This year has been great for me.
Well, we'll take a look at Carlos Carrasco's numbers, something that he's done. He's had a great year so far to this point off the field, and he's going to try to continue it on the field, making his 23rd start. His record is 10-7 for Carrasco. He has struck out at least 8 guys in his last 6 starts. He will be our Honda starting pitcher for tonight, and in his career, he's 2-1 against the Astros. He will be making his 5th start.
And he'll be starting against a Houston lineup that has been able to score early in this series. And the Astros are back to 10 games over 500. And they feel pretty good about where they're at right now, even though they know they have a rugged schedule still ahead of them in the month of September. George Springer leading off, taking a called strike. Springer 2 for 7 in the series, but he has been able to score 3 runs.
Yeah, he's a run scoring machine. He's in the top 5 when it comes to runs scored.
Down low, 1-1.
Springer has scored 104 on the year.
Just a bit low. Wow. 2-1. Houston's got to feel pretty good about themselves before this game even starts. They've picked up a half game on both Detroit and Baltimore, the two teams directly in front of them in the wild card chase. The 2-1 in the air, right center field. Naquin, the center fielder, will make the catch. Alex Bregman is the shortstop tonight. His natural position, he's going to bat second. Jose Altuve third. Then it's Evan Gattis who serves as the DH. Yuli Gurriel moves to third base hitting fifth. Colby Rasmussen left will bat sixth. Marwin Gonzalez, Jason Castro getting a start behind the plate hitting eighth, and Jake Marisnick will bat ninth. You'll notice Carlos Correa is a notable missing member of the Astros starting lineup. And we were told that it was a play in the ninth inning last night when it was the throw by Gattis down. It was kind of a wild throw. He was diving back to the bag. Coco Crisp was sliding in at the same time, and something happened to his shoulder. I guess
something popped in there. He's not even in the dugout. He's back in Houston.
To say that's a big blow to the Astros is an understatement of gigantic proportion.
Well, they figured he wasn't going to play tomorrow, so go home and get him checked out and see what's going on.
And Bregman launches a single to center. That's his fourth hit in 10 at-bats. With more on the status of Carlos Correa, down to Andre.
As you guys said, Correa is on his way back to Houston. Now, the Astros people feel like he'll be able to play this weekend. The play did occur right there in the ninth inning from last night. But in talking to some of the people with the Astros, it has been bothering him for a little while. He woke up today, was sore, so they figured the best bet was to sit him out today and tomorrow afternoon and get him back into action this weekend.
Well, they could use him because their schedule doesn't get any easier. They go home to play the Cubs after they leave here tomorrow, and then a series with the Texas Rangers to follow.
Carrasco deals, and Altuve takes it's outside ball one. I've said it before, when you're a manager and you're A.J. Hinch in this particular instance, you don't almost want to answer your phone sometimes because nobody calls you with good news. It's always, oh, by the way, Carlos Correa will not be with the club tonight. You send him back home.
Well, that's a tough job to be in the managers, especially when you're playing solid baseball. They've won 13 of their last 17 games. They're in a tough stretch of the season right now for them. You have injuries, and it doesn't get any easier. I mean, they were in the playoffs last year, and people expected them to be in the World Series this year. Never gets easier.
The 2-0 pitch, runner goes, and a line drive single left. Boy, Rajay was playing very deep. No chance on the play. Bregman stopping at second, and there are two aboard with only one out.
Well, Altuve gets a heater right down the middle, belt high, and he does what he's supposed to. Hits a line drive, one hopper into left field. Back-to-back singles. That guy doesn't have a tough time getting to a fastball at all. He has a quick bat, and they have runners on first and second now with one out.
So far, Evan Gattis hasn't been able to get to anything in this series. 0 for 7. He has drawn a couple of walks. And Carrasco pumps a fastball by him at 96.
Well, Houston's been able to take the lead in this series in both games. Quick 3-0 leads early.
Gattis, who caught the first two games of this series, DHing tonight, and A.J. Hinch saying he wants to get Castro in the lineup not only tonight but also tomorrow for the day game. Yeah, so
quick turnaround. Well, that's what happens when you're coming into a 4-game series, and you know you win the first 2. You have a little luxury where you got to give some guys some breathers. Not only that, you're missing a couple of guys, some of your key guys because of injuries. So they have to really battle one day at a time.
Swung on and missed. Carrasco went right at him with some serious heat. Strikes him out, 2 down.
No, he didn't mess around. That's exactly what he had to do. He elevated it. He swings through it. He gets the strikeout when needed. And that's strikeout number 1 today. Let's check the Indians defense for you now. Brought to you by Jeep. It'll be Davis gets the start in left tonight. Naquin in center, Chisenhall in right. Ramirez and Lindor on the left side. Kipnis and Napoli on the right with Perez doing the catching.
Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel signed with the Astros after defecting from Cuba. He defected in February, signed with the Astros just about 2 months ago.
Well, he's a third baseman. He's playing tonight. They've had Bregman out there playing third base. Now that Bregman's at short, they could put him and plug him in at third. He was playing first.
The 1-1. Pop back our way. We might have a chance.
You
on
do.
Our first ball. No. Needed to be about 8 inches taller.
Well, you had it was your side. You know what? I remember when your arm was long enough to reach that. Good try.
I could dive now because
that would have been the one to catch because it wasn't hit that hard. It had that trajectory where it had a little.
Story of my life, Arch. That would have been the one. Little tapper back to the mound. Carrasco corrals it, throws it, got him. Astros with a couple of hits. They strand a pair. The Indians coming to bat. Starting 9 for Terry Francona and the Indians, brought to you by Progressive. Carlos Santana leading it off. He's the DH. Jason Kipnis at second base in the 2-hole. Francisco Lindor batting third. Mike Napoli, Jose Ramirez, Lonnie Chisenhall in the middle. Then it's Rajay Davis, Tyler Naquin, and Roberto Perez. It's an Indians offense that has suddenly sputtered. They were swinging the bats very well, but yeah, they were 6-0 on the homestand. And now all of a sudden they can't buy a hit in the clutch.
Yeah, hitting with runners in scoring position. That's the key. You got to get the key hit.
0 for 12 last night and under 200 on the homestand.
Right. And you know, if they get a big hit in one of the first 2 games, they're right there.
Yeah.
They got a chance to win one, if not both.
But that's kind of the way runners in scoring position.
Yes, it does.
You don't do it every game. You don't do it all the
It
time.
comes and it goes.
Big curveball in for a strike. 68 miles an hour. You talk about really slowing it down.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's about 6'8". He can slow it down. He can sink it. He can cut it. He can do whatever he wants to with the baseball.
No go.
You know, he made 1 start against the Indians earlier this year. That came on May 11th. That was the 16-inning game. But he pitched well. 7 innings, 6 hits, a couple of runs. Of course, he wasn't around for the decision. He only threw 89 pitches in that start. But he keeps you off balance. Remember him when he was with the Tigers. He pitched well against the Indians.
Jammed him, but Santana might muscle it in. No, Altuve runs it down.
Let's take a look at Doug Fister's numbers, brought to you by Hyundai. He has 12 wins. 9 of those wins have come on the road. He is tied with Cole Hamels when it comes to road wins, so he's pitched very well away from his home.
Wait, what did you just say?
What?
You're not allowed to say Cole Hamels around Houston people.
Well, I'm sure they've heard his name enough this year.
Yeah.
I'm not around Houston people right now. We already went there once.
It reminded me though of a story. You know, Jeffrey Lunau, the GM, he was kind of the opinion, understandably so, I don't care for no trade clauses. Because if you think about going back to last year, they had a deal in place to bring Hamels to Houston. Instead, he invokes the no trade clause, goes to Texas. Direct competitor.
Right, and
look,
they wear him out now.
All right. Now this year, what happens? Indians have a deal in place. Guy exercises no trade clause. Where's he go?
Texas.
So he's right. You know, it's the same situation.
Yeah.
It's benefited a team in their division twice now, and that has a direct impact on their club. Now, you can understand why he doesn't like it, but that's not something that's ever going to probably go away anytime soon.
No, not as long as you can still negotiate for a living.
Jason Kipnis draws a 1-out walk.
Let's check the Astros defense. Their 2 errors last night. They move into the number 2 spot in the league in fielding percentage. It's Rasmussen left, Marisnick in center, Springer over at right. Gurriel at third, Bregman at short, Altuve is at second, Gonzalez at first, and Castro is doing the catching tonight. His first start in the series.
Marvin Hudson has the plate tonight. Crew chief Jim Joyce at first, Chad Fairchild second, James Hoy at third. And a strike call to Francisco Lindor.
You know, when you talk about the no trade clauses and things like that, a lot of times if you're not the upper echelon of the talent, you don't get it everywhere. I'm saying, but then you can pick and choose a few different teams. Sometimes.
Nice piece of hitting by Lindor as he slaps it the other way for a single, and now the Indians have something brewing with 2 on and 1 out.
Well, this is what you're going to have to do against Fister. Stay the other way. That ball was off the plate, and he let it track deep into the zone, and he slaps it the other way. And good swing. And one of the times you beat their defense, a lot of times they'll shift you even more over in that hole, but Lindor does a nice job to stay on that pitch and hit it the other way.
Mike Napoli 1 out of 7 with a home run in the series. One last point on the whole no trade clause, because I don't want to get us off on a whole tangent here, but I think it's a great negotiating tool, because if I'm a player and I want to stay in a city or play with a club that's treated me well, I'll say, you know, I'll take a little bit of less money. Let's work out a long-term deal. But I don't want you shipping me off the first sign of trouble either, so give me a no trade.
Yeah,
I get it. I understand.
It's tough to get, you know, exclusively, you know, to nobody.
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, you pick 4 teams. And then, you know, you might be able to pick her 6 teams or whatever it may be. And if they don't like the 6 you pick, they'll say, no, why don't you try 6 more?
Try again.
Yeah.
Napoli watches a throw to second, but Kipnis easily beats the tag of Altuve. Napoli's home run, the 30th of the year, came in the series opener. Hit it right down the left field line, off the pole. Also picked up his 90th RBI. That was that foul. Mike with 70 hits on the year at home compared to 51 on the road. He's batted an even 300 at Progressive Field this year. Another play at second, but again, Kipnis beats the tag.
Well, Fister's a pretty good athlete on the mound. He fields his position well. He's quick to home plate when you're holding runners at first base. And you can see him trying to keep Kipnis close at second. And Altuve is playing right off the bag, figuring Napoli is not going to try and go the other way with it. And he's probably right.
Not that Kipnis can't steal a base. He has 11 out of 14 on the year. But I almost think those plays, those moves are designed because of the scouting report, because the Indians' reputation is right now they're going to run if they get an opportunity.
And the outfielders have great arms. And there you go. He hits with it.
Napoli out looking 2 away.
Take a look at the pitch on our Nissan pitch tracker. He's going to go inside it. Boy, it's right there. That's a good pitch. I don't know if he was sitting on the breaking ball or not, but he gassed him up with that fastball.
Jose Ramirez. Your point, though, to the outfielders, when you've got good arms in the outfield, if I can keep you maybe a half a step closer to the bag, how many plays are bang bang right at the plate?
Well, right at home plate, but they lead the league in outfield assists. Springer, Rasmus, look how shallow Rasmus is playing Ramirez right now. So on a base hit, I don't think Kipnis can score.
No, I don't think so. Not to left field. They are shading Ramirez in the outfield the other way. Not playing him to pull at all. And he goes right to Rasmus, or rather Marisnik in center. And that'll end the inning. So the Indians get 2 on. They strand them both. And we're scoreless after 1. The Astros will send Colby Rasmus, Marwin Gonzalez, and Jason Castro to the plate. And a pitch down low.
That could have been like a two-seam fastball or slash changeup, because, you know, his changeup, he can throw anywhere from 87 up to about 92, 93, depending on how he splits his grip. When he came out in the first inning, he was throwing a ton of fastballs.
Tried to hold up, but he went around.
Yeah, another changeup. You know, you get that into that fastball count, and pitchers are so good at just taking them off, and that changeup has become such a weapon for so many pitchers in this game.
High fly ball, shallow left. In comes Rajay Davis. One away. Well, let's take a look at the keys to the game, brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Keep them off the board early, and the clutch hitting.
Bingo. That's what's got to come around. You got to get a couple of big hits at the right time. And if you can get one early in the game, it usually relaxes the rest of the boys in the dugout. So hopefully they can get one here soon.
This was the hero for Houston last night, Marwin Gonzalez. He hit the 3-run homer early, and that helped the Astros hold on for the win. They didn't need much else. No, a late insurance run
Always helps.
always helps.
Yes, it does. Yeah, you can see the 2 home runs he hit, big ones. He hit the one in the 16th inning in walk-off fashion when we were down in Houston earlier, and the big 3-run homer last night.
Blowing away a good fastball. Look at the run at 96 miles an hour. And that ball was just darting its way off the plate. If he wanted to hit that pitch, he couldn't have done it. And that one had some wicked movement as well, but way out of the strike zone, and it's 2-2.
Carlos, a guy that doesn't walk many. He's only walked 32 guys in 135 1/3 innings coming into tonight. So now making 136 2/3, but he throws a lot of strikes. And there's a good changeup. He brought it back in.
That's his second strikeout tonight, 2 down on the inning.
Look at the spin on it. I mean, excellent location with enough speed off where you think it's a fastball, but it is not.
Now, rocket arms shows you that Carrasco right there over the last 2 seasons. Strikeouts per 9 innings. Lance McCullers, a guy the Astros would love to try and get back. There's still some hope if they get into the playoffs and make a deep run that he could maybe be a factor for them yet. But it wouldn't be in a starting role. There's just not enough time to build him back up.
Right.
But that's another key arm.
It certainly is.
That they're missing.
He has great stuff. For Carrasco, though, he has been on a roll. As I told you, 6 consecutive starts where he's had 8 or more strikeouts. You go back to August 7th. In New York, even though it was a loss, he had 9 strikeouts, then 8, then 11. And then his last 3, 9, 8, and 11. And only one other guy has done that this year consecutively. That's Clayton Kershaw. You know, so he's tied him, and his is active going. So he needs 6 more to keep it rolling. Already 7 swings and misses for Carlos.
1-1. Bullseye, and he's ahead 1-2. And as you know, Arch, with a guy like Carrasco, just like a Kluber, a Sale, a Kershaw, the strikeouts can come in bunches.
Sure, they
he
can.
Gets on a roll.
Kluber was the last guy to do it here. It was back in 2014. But yeah, they start getting in their groove and they find that zone, boy, and they're locked in with everything.
Hit pretty well deep left back as Raja hits over his head, high off the wall. He plays it very well, but the throw is offline, and in with a 2-out double is Jason Castro.
Well, this is a kid starting his first game and put a nice swing on the baseball and drives it off the wall in left field. This is our Indiana Wesleyan pitch tracker. 96 going away. You see him stay on it, and Rajai played it very well. Can't play it much better than that. You figure that's a double all the way.
He hit a 96-mile-an-hour pitch for his 96th hit, or I should say, and it's his 96th game this year. He's only came in batting .218, so. But double figures and homers and doubles.
You get opportunities, you go up there and you give it your all. He's not getting the bulk of the catching, but when you're given the opportunity, take advantage of it.
The batter now, Jake Marisnick, starting in center field tonight. 9th hitter in the order. Now I wonder if there's any extra emotion pumping for Carrasco tonight. You know, it's not the first time he's been nominated for the Roberto Clemente Award. He was nominated a year ago as well. Broken bat. Yeah, pop to second. Kipnis gathers it in. And Carrasco keeps him off the board once again. Middle of the second, no score.
MLB.com @bat app. You can stay connected all season with radio broadcast, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet.
Well, here in the home half of the second, Lonnie Chisenhall will lead it off for the Indians. And a pitch up high, ball 1. Out of play. Hung one that time. Lonnie was out in front of it though.
Coming into this game, Fister in his last 5 starts 2-3 and an ERA of over 6. He has made 6 starts against the Central Division. That record is 2-3. Left-handers hitting .302, righties hitting .214. He does a good job against right-handed hitters.
And Lonnie shoots one in the hole. He took a page from Francisco Lindor's playbook.
Well, there's a lot of hits that way. They have 2 hits, both of them coming in the same hole. He's trying to get you to pull his baseball right here. And if you just stay on it and take what he gives you, you're going to be okay. Both hits, they weren't hit all that hard, but they found the hole between short and third. So you're going to have to prove to stay on them, and then that'll get you some fastballs inside. Rajai taking a peek down there at third, see how close he was playing. Maybe thinking bunt. See those guys' eyes, they get in the batter's box, they take a quick peek.
Gurriel even with the bag at third. Rajai taking, that's a strike. He's in the hole 0-2.
Don't know if he agreed with that call, maybe thinking it's a little bit high. Didn't say anything though.
Pulls it to third. Gurriel goes to second. There's one on to first. No chance. One away. And now we'll see if Rajai goes to work.
Yeah, this is a tough guy to run on, if I remember correctly. He's pretty quick to the plate. He does a nice job of holding base runners.
Normally you think a guy at 6'8", you think no way we'll run all day on him. He's always been good with that slide step.
Yeah, he's been awesome. I mean, he doesn't even pick that leg up. Or a tall guy, no sir, he's very good. It'll be tough to get a jump off him. There's been 3 stolen base attempts off him all year long. They're 3 for 3. So whether they guessed right on the breaking ball or whatever, but there's only 3.
Well, I'm assuming it's probably guys like Rajai who can steal on just about anybody if they really want to. Rajai 35 out of 40 on the season. Tyler Naquin at the plate, 2 out of 6 with a double against Astro pitching.
Well, it's been a lot of high fastballs to Tyler in this series. And he's been swinging at him. He's going to have to make him bring it down. Rajai called timeout over there to get ready, get that running equipment ready to go.
A little high. Ball 1.
Arch, you continue to bring this up about Naquin and swinging at that high pitch. Is there a way for him to cut down on swinging on it?
Yeah, you just got to really target down. Anything above your waist, just let it go.
Well, he knows it. And we've had the discussion
true.
about it, but I think almost, and I don't want to take away from time played or anything else, but when he's played more consistently, he's been a little bit more better.
I agree with you. And it's plate appearances. You got to be up. That's how you learn in this game. You've got to play every day. I mean, it's easier to say. I mean, when I come up and say, hey, you got to lay off of it, it's not that easy. I mean, he's got to target that zone down. He's got to look nothing above his waist. Anything that's up there, you got to let it go. Especially early in the count, and make sure that guy can prove he can put it in there in the strike zone. I mean, it's a learning process for Tyler. He's got to continue to go, and he's going to learn. Every team will pitch him differently. But the trend I see with Tyler, every team pitches him up when they can get to 2 strikes to try and get him to swing and miss.
Oh, close play. And Rajai just beat it back. Rajai slid to the outside part of the bag. And Marwin Gonzalez leaping back trying to tag him.
You see, he's pretended he was starting to go up, and he throws over there quickly. I think Gonzalez missed the tag originally around the shoulder and then came back to get him. He's quick.
Out of play.
See how fast he is for a big man? He's around 1 second, which is well below average. So if you're going to steal, everything has to fit correctly. The stars have to align. A lot like Josh Tomlin, where we see him pay so much attention to the base runners and, you know, gives them different looks.
Two. Raj had a jump, but he got about 2 strides and put the brakes on. Just didn't like the way it felt.
Well, this will be interesting. See if he takes off now on a 3-2 count. Naquin is a guy that swings and misses a lot. So if you don't get a good jump, unless the skipper says go ahead, take off, you're running. Naquin struck out 95 times in his 271 at bats. Yeah, the fans are booing, but he's doing a great job controlling the running game.
Runner goes, and a chopper to first. Gonzalez with a nice flip. How about Dougie? And that's out number 2. So Rajai gets himself into scoring position, and it will bring up Roberto Perez.
This is a pretty good play here. Gonzalez comes over. He's going to have to lead Fister to the bag because just of the angle. That guy takes about 3 strides and he's at the bag. Nice little short hop there on the backhand side and makes it look easy. Out number 2.
Well, let's see if Roberto Perez can come up with the clutch hit. We mentioned that the Indians are batting below 200 on the homestand with runners in scoring position. Already 0 for 2 tonight. Another opportunity here. What makes the problem even more glaring, Rick, is the fact that over the last 7 days, the Indians have come to the plate with runners in scoring position a whopping 39% of the time. That's the most in the majors. So the opportunities have been abundant.
Right.
Just haven't been able to cash in.
Well, There's cash in, but will he score?
Coming around third, Rajay will try. Marisnik's throw is cut off. And the Indians will play from in front.
That's what they needed. Get it early. Get it out of the way. And it's Roberto Perez that does it. This will be our Yellowwood bringing the lumber. And watch this swing, a fastball. He challenged him. Perez hit it to center field. This is going to be a good contest here. Just a one-hopper. Marisnik didn't make a good throw. You see it hits way in front of the mound. So Perez puts the Indians on top 1-0.
And now Carlos Santana chops one foul. Baseball, you know, because it's a game that is built around numbers and statistics, it's almost like the law of averages eventually will work its way around to you. You keep getting runners in scoring position, as we said before, you're not going to knock them in every time. You're not going to, but if you keep getting the opportunities, eventually
it's going to happen. Well, the Indians are on a tear as we talk about their last homestand. They didn't score a whole lot on the road. You know, they haven't put together a really good, although they won their first 6 games. They're under 200 with runners in scoring position. But you keep plugging away. Sooner or later, it's going to come.
Santana was able to hold up. And a 3-1 count now with Roberto Perez at first base. Astros shifting 3 to the right side of the infield. And that's ball 4. So Doug Fister has walked his second in as many innings. And the Indians have 2 on with 2 out now for Jason Kipnis. Let's go down to Andre Knott.
Well, this could be the perfect matchup for Jason Kipnis. You guys have talked about how Fister was formerly with the Detroit Tigers. In his career, Kipnis is hitting .480 versus Fister. He's 12 of 25, walked in the first inning. Says he just picks up the ball well from him when I talked to him earlier in the day about facing Fister.
Yeah, sometimes it just clicks for you as a hitter. I'd like to see a click right here.
Aggressively after the first pitch. And he grounds out to end the inning. But the Indians get on the board first. And on the year, Cleveland 54-16 when they score first. To stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Carlos Carrasco. Top of the order for Houston, George Springer. Fly to center his first time up, and he had to quickly get out of the way of that pitch.
He's thrown a few of those pitches that have really taken off, like the changeups. And that's maybe a little too much pressure on one finger, but that ball got away from him. He'll reel it in. It's all a field pitch.
High fly ball, deep to left. Rajai Davis, and he's going to play it off the wall. And into second base with a leadoff double is George Springer. Astros were 3 for 9 against Carrasco first time through the order. Springer bangs one off the wall.
Well, he challenged him with a fastball, but again, he left it middle of the plate. And he didn't get all of it, but he got enough to get a double. For Springer, that's his 26th double. So Houston trying to respond here in the top of the third.
Rick, that snaps a string of 26 consecutive leadoff hitters Carrasco had retired.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. 26 in a row.
We always talk about first for pitching, first strike, first out of an inning, and you got 26 in a row. You're already kind of helping yourself ahead of the game.
You take a lot of steam out of that offense when you know it's like, okay, 1 out. You only get 2 in an inning now. It's a nice little streak there.
So he's got to work around a leadoff double here with a 1-0 lead. And Alex Bregman is swinging a hot bat for Houston. Slowly tapped to Lindor. Throws him out. Napoli goes to third with the throw. And the ball came out. Otherwise, I think they had him.
It's good hustle by Springer. Now his teammate feels pretty good about himself. But Ramirez couldn't hold on to the ball. And I don't know if that throw was low and it short hopped him. And then Springer came in head first. Let's see the throw from Knapp. It goes over there. It's a little low. Yeah, he never really caught it. It's just a little too low for him. If it was a seed and it was about a foot off the ground, he would have had him. But
you're right.
That's good hustle by George Springer right there to get himself in scoring position. And look at the Indians coming in now.
And with Jose Altuve at the plate, there's a real good chance he's going to put it in play.
You would think so.
Swung on and missed. That was a great pitch by Carrasco. As he gets ahead. Springer runs well, but he's not a burner. If Altuve hits it at an infielder, he got a great chance to get him at the plate. Nice stop by Roberto Perez. That's
63% of the time.
Really good job.
Well, this guy, you know, rarely does he swing through a pitch unless maybe once in a while you can get him to chase one. But he always finds a way to get the bat on the ball. One tough out, and he's the best road hitter in baseball.
Gets ahead of him 1-2. Carlos Carrasco, who over the last month has struck out 40% of the right-handed batters he has faced. Boy, could he use one here. And it was, whoa, so very close, but just Maybe a width of a ball off the plate.
Yeah, that was off the plate. That's where he's sitting. You know, they wanted to try and get a swing and a miss there, but he didn't want to throw him a strike. Perez was off the dish with the target.
Again, the infield in. And swinging a foul back. Perez out. He went fastball away to get him to chase. He wouldn't do it. Took a little something off. He got a piece of it. See what they decide to do here.
Yeah, that you know, he's going to go with his strikeout pitch, I would guess, and that is his slider. When he throws a good one, it goes straight down. He's got a chance, if he doesn't get the swing and miss, to get a ground ball. And the only time he threw that fastball, it was off the plate for show. He didn't want him to get to it. Left that one inside. Oh boy, that didn't miss by much. He's lucky there. They didn't want that pitch inside, and that was just barely fouled on the line. I mean, by a few inches. Look at it, it's right at the bag. Umpire standing right in the way. See Springer at third base trying to point and give him some help. He says it just went over the bag. It's close.
Not much closer than that. You can see the players are all waving from the bugs in their face.
I wonder if we could try and buzz him inside one time and miss in off the plate.
I like your play on words, buzz. That 2-2.
He tried. He tried to get it in there, but it was one.
Where's your mask?
Had some movement.
Where's your mask? Put it on. Let's go.
No, that head heals quickly down there. Yeah, it didn't stay around long, did it? That mask with Andre.
No. I think that was just a prop. Really wasn't a safety piece of equipment. 2-2. Broken bat base hit. Altuve does it again, and the Astros come back and tie it at 1.
That's a very good job of hitting. That kid can hit. That now you see why he's got 188 hits. I mean, when you look at the sequence, there's the slider, swing and miss. He wanted to pull early, misses with another slider, gets the strike, wasn't ready for that one. There's the fastball away he didn't offer at. Slider, now he's going to buzz him in, and that does movement, and then again, now the slider away off the end of the bat. Just a great job of hitting. Ties the ball game up, so Houston able to come right back. That's Altuve's second hit tonight.
Now Evan Gattis. Double play ball.
There you go.
Lindor turns 2. The inning is over. But the Astros tie the game. Middle of the third, 1-1. he's taking practice swings or swatting the midges out of the way.
Yeah, back again tonight. They've been here all series.
Doug Fister has given up a run on 3 hits through the first 2 frames. He's walked a couple. Has 1 strikeout.
You know, on average, he usually gives up a base hit an inning when he pitches. He's given up 3 so far. But he's a competitor.
Hit him.
Well,
that was a breaking ball gone awry.
You know, he didn't look like he moved a whole lot, which is a good thing. That one shouldn't hurt you a whole lot.
He did the Brandon Guyer.
Yeah, maybe he's learning from Brandon Guyer.
Stat of the game brought to you by Buick. Mike Napoli with 30, Carlos Santana with 29, Last Tribe teammates with 30+. Jim Thome and Ellis Burks, who combined for 84.
It goes back a ways. That's you know, that's something nowadays. You hitting 30.
Mike Napoli pulls it foul. Well, the home run numbers are just they've been astonishing this year.
Yeah, they have. We've talked about it a number of times.
I heard a stat today that just made me shake my head. We've been talking a lot about Brian Dozier, how good he's been.
Right.
For the Minnesota Twins. He has hit more home runs since the All-Star break than Bryce Harper has hit all season long.
That's impressive.
Now, if you'd have told me that was going to happen in March, I'd have said, let's get you to the hospital. But that's the kind of year it's been.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we checked, and I mean, we started tracking this right after the All-Star break, and it was up over 600 home runs in baseball compared to the same date. And it's so far, what was it, about a month ago we checked again, it was the same.
Yeah.
And you see home runs flying everywhere.
And I mean, long home runs.
Yeah. The St. Louis Cardinals, for example, have homered for the last 25 straight games.
Foul, look out. Wow.
And they knocked someone's food off up there in the Terrace Club.
Cracked the window. Yeah, the St. Louis Cardinals, I heard today, are the first team since 1961 to be losing with 2 outs in the 9th and then hit 3 home runs and win the game in the 9th.
Yeah, Carpenter hit an 0-2 home run to tie.
Line drive, left field caught. 1 away. Yeah, the home run numbers are certainly eye-opening. I think for me, they brought some excitement to the game, but they haven't been hit at any sort of absurd rate that's made us go, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, when guys were hitting 50,
well,
yeah, and it was no big deal. Like, oh, so-and-so hit 50. Oh, yeah, well, this guy hit 60. Oh, that guy hit I mean, that's when it started to get, wait a minute, what's going on?
Yeah, but more guys are hitting more of them, you know, this year. The baseball, man, seems like it is jumping so much more than I've ever seen it in a while.
And there's a line drive base hit into center field. Lindor will stop at second base. Let's go down to Andre Knott.
Well, earlier in the season, we talked to Terry Francona and tried to compare Jose Ramirez to another batter, and he wouldn't do it. He says he's his own guy. Finally, 2 days ago, without us saying anything or bringing it up to him, he goes, he reminds me a little of Michael Brantley. All guys are different. All guys do their own thing. He goes, but the thing I love about Jose is he hits the ball wherever it's pitched every single time, whether it's an RBI situation or whether it's the 9th inning and the team is up 5 runs. Right. That's why he's been successful. He never changes who he is.
You're right. And he talked about the patience. And if you're going to be a good RBI guy, you have to have patience. You know, he's not aggressive. He doesn't try to hit home runs, nor does Michael Brantley. And I mean, that's where the comparison lies. But Ramirez has turned into a really good, tough out.
Now, see, I love that comparison because that's not a visual comparison. That's not a he reminds me of. That's a he reminds me of him because of the approach.
His approach, right.
More of a mental thing than something that he does physically that reminds him of Brandon.
Yeah, a lot of guys get runners in scoring position and they turn into a different person because they want to get that guy in so badly from third base with the less than 2 outs, or the guy in scoring position. They try too hard instead of just relaxing, and with the pressure is on the pitcher.
There's a line drive base hit into center field. Coming around third, Lindor will try to score the go-ahead run. The throw way off line, but heading into second base is Lonnie Chisenhall, and he is erased. And that is a key out because that's number 2.
Yeah, you know what, Lonnie, you got to make sure that ball's down enough where it didn't go over the cutoff man. Probably should have stayed at first base. Even though it was down, that's when you run. He does a nice job getting a line drive up the middle. And it almost looked like I caught him looking back at the play instead of running to second base hard all the way. It's way off line. So Castro comes out and makes an easy throw. And I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but it looked like he cruised around first to second. See, he's stopping and then he kicked it back into gear. But that's an easy read right there. The ball was down. They come back and take the lead, though.
And Rajay Davis looking for a 2-out hit to drive home another run as the Indians are up 2-1. Rajay reached on a fielder's choice, scored in the second. Now pops one back out of play. You were talking about Ramirez and guys who succeed in the clutch because they don't change who they are. The heart rate kind of stays down. I remember back in 2013 in that playoff game, Terry Francona said it's the one thing he noticed about Lonnie Chisenhall. He said he was the one guy in our lineup that wasn't trying too hard, wasn't trying to do too much, and had the best night of any Indians hitter in that game. And tonight, Chisenhall's 2 for 2. He drives home the go-ahead run. Indians lead it 2-1. Indians lead it. Yuli Gurriel to the plate for Houston. Tap one back to the mound. His first time up. Uh-oh.
Got a bug in the eye.
I'm glad that's all it was, because the way he reacted initially, that's a bad sign when a starting pitcher does that.
No, but he had a bug in the eye. There it is. Right when he was delivering the baseball. They have been around here. You mentioned it. The midgets are back.
See if he can pick it up here.
They'll put a little
eye wash?
Yeah, they'll put some eye wash in there and try and flush it out.
I love how everybody else wants to help out.
Yeah, of course they are. They're the trainers.
That's great.
But you know, that is distracting. All those bugs, you know, flying around, and it's hot, it's humid, they're all over. You're sweating. Don't put any spray on; they get worse.
Yeah,
It's like it's snowing.
It does. Some of the shots that we've had from maybe center field back towards home plate, it looks, because of the distance there, it almost looks like snow. There you go.
There it
looks
is.
like snow flurries.
You remember with the Yankees game? Everybody remembers that when we had Carmona and Java Chamberlain was pitching, and those guys sprayed that.
Base hit right
There
field.
it comes.
Gurriel is aboard for Houston. Yeah, the Yankees used bug spray and it attracted them.
Right,
even
that's
more.
what it does. What do they say? Like those dryer things that bounce, those little things you rub around on you. They stay away for whatever reason.
Look at Knapp. I mean, they're brutal right now. Colby Rasmus. Oh boy, he clobbers one deep right. Back is Lonnie, and he's going to watch it leave. So since the bug flew in the eye of Carlos Carrasco, he's given up a single and a homer. And the Astros go in front 3-2. They've got the lead for the first time tonight.
Yeah, that lead didn't last long, did it? Carlos gives up his 20th homer. And Rasmus hits his 14th. And this is no doubt he gets another fastball right there into the wheelhouse. This kid has surprising power. So with one swing of the bat, Houston goes back on top 3-2. They have an answer.
Maybe goggles would be the answer.
Just they bug you. They're all in your face.
The thing is, and we've commented on this in the past, they don't seem to bother the people in the seats. It's just the guys who are right on the field.
From the lights.
A hammer shot to right. Lonnie makes the catch, and that ball was scorched. One away.
Well, it looks like Carl's going to have to locate the fastball a little bit better.
I mean, this is almost ridiculous right now.
Well, once they come at you, they keep coming. They don't stop.
Breaking ball in there for a strike. I remember there was a game that got stopped because of a bee. Something happened with bees.
That happens a lot, you know, in spring training when you're out in Arizona, and I've seen it a number of times throughout Major League Baseball.
But I don't know that
a swarm that comes in.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever had them like bugs of this nature that don't really bite.
No, they'll call a game or something
where they might have to delay. I've never seen that. But I mean, you wonder what point would it be deemed too difficult to continue? It would.
I don't know.
It would have to be the umpire would have to make that call.
See, now you got the batter that had
and the home plate umpire, Marvin Hudson, he's already had to step out once tonight because a bug either flew in his eye or in his nostril or something.
That's going to happen all night long.
Well, let's go back to the division series in 2007. Look at how young
there's
Java
the spray.
Chamberlain
Don't
was.
use the spray.
He threw one to the backstop. Indians tied the game.
That was, yeah, they tied the game with that one, right?
Little roller to second. Kipnis takes care of that. 2 down. You know, the weird thing is you would think that maybe if you were in the outfield and you had to run or after a ball, or if you're running down the line, it might be worse. It almost seems like if you're moving, they don't bother you. It's when you're standing still, they just seem to converge.
Yeah, so you say, okay, hurry up and throw strikes and get us off the field. We want to hit.
Missed inside. Jake Marisnick popped one up to Kipnis his first time up.
Yeah, really sawed him off on a pitch on the inside part of the plate.
Way out in front of that off-speed pitch. If you missed it earlier, the White Sox beat the Tigers today 7-4. And Marisnick, I'm not sure he could have swung if he wanted to. It looked like he had a bug fly right in his eye just about the time that ball came into home plate.
Look at, he turned away. He sure did. That's bad timing when that pitch is coming at you. That's the worst time you can have.
Now the 1-2. Swung out and missed. Carrasco. It's his third strikeout of the night. But it was a first pitch homer by Colby Rasmus that has the Astros in front. 3-2. It's over in Houston. Looks like she's in the middle of a sandstorm. Hang in there, Julia. Right now in the American League Central Division, the Indians lead is 5 over Detroit. Tribe wins tonight. They go to 5.5. And of course, the Indians one more game to go with Houston tomorrow before they head out on a road trip that will take them to Minnesota for 3 and then to Chicago for 4. And then they'll come back home, last homestand of the season, and it will kick off with a big series against Detroit. Naquin chases one up high, 1-1. Tyler Naquin 0 for 1. He grounded out his only time up. Hit him. Second Indians batter hit by a pitch, and their leadoff man is aboard for the 3rd time in 4 innings.
You take it. It looked like a little breaking ball right into the leg of Tyler.
Yeah.
Cutter just right behind the knee, upper thigh or calf. Pitch got away. He didn't like it.
I don't know what was said to him, but he mouthed back, "I know."
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. I've done that a number of times. Second time tonight.
Probably something like, "Yeah, you threw that one a little bit too far inside." Yeah, I know. There's Roberto Perez. He had a clutch RBI hit in the second inning. One's off, swing and a miss, and now he's caught.
Yeah, tried to hit and run there. Tried to hit and run, and he stopped halfway. And you know, a hit and run, you're not trying to steal a base. You don't get the good jump. And you know, that ball was down. It wasn't really a strike. It was a tough pitch for Perez, and then Naquin realized he was going to be a dead duck anyway. It was a nice pick by Altuve. He doesn't even make a throw, just runs him back and tags him. So an easy out.
Chase one of the other batter's box, 2-2.
Only 7 of 18. First pitch strikes for Doug Fister. Yeah, that was the one you swing at there, that breaking ball.
Well, let's go back to the studios because we like good news. Here's Ashley Collins.
Thanks, Matt. The Blue Jays are on the road taking on the Yankees, and we'll go to the third inning. Starlin Castro, his 20th homer of the season, a solo shot out to left field. Toronto up a game and a half in the East. Yankees 4.5 back. New York leads it 2-0, bottom of the fourth.
Thanks, Ashley.
Wild game there last night.
You know, Rick, it's amazing how the Yankees, the New York Yankees, have suddenly become this, and a lot of it has to do with the way they're portrayed by the local and national media, as this ragtag bunch of underdogs that everybody's now rooting for. But they're still the New York Yankees, for crying out loud. And I get it. I understand.
Because they're all young kids down there.
And I get that part of it. And that part is really a neat story. But can we just pump the brakes a little bit about this story? You know, they are making it interesting, though.
Well, yeah, the young players they have there, they're exciting. They're fun to watch. For their fans, they're, you know, they traded all the veterans. They get, you know.
CC Sabathia's looking around that clubhouse going,
yeah,
where the old guys go?
They're calling him Pops. Yeah. Now he knows how I feel around you guys.
Andre, you got your ears on?
Yeah, he does. I see a thumbs up down there.
The old governor.
Outside, ball 4. 2-out base runner. That'll give Jason Kipnis a chance. Andre, what's the bug situation like down there where you're sitting from your perspective?
It's, well, since I have a camera right over top of me, we got a ton of them that kind of attract to light or wherever light's at. It's not terrible, but you get a couple that get close to you. You got to keep your mouth closed. Yeah. My question, Arch, when you were down on the lake, what was it? Did you have the same bug problem down there?
On the lake?
On the lakefront.
The old stadium.
Stadium.
Oh, yeah. There was always bugs down there.
You're so old you can't remember where you played.
There's always bugs down there. You're right. That was a long time ago. They just moved inland a little bit. They like the lights.
Base, no, it's taken away by Gurriel. Thought maybe he was going to sneak it through the left side. The Indians have had success doing that tonight. Not this time. We played 4. Houston on top 3-2. brought to you by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. By your Northern Ohio Honda dealers. And by the Cleveland Clinic. Access anytime, anywhere. It's a 3-2 Houston lead. And the Astros have the top of the order due up here in the 5th. Down ball, foul, third base side.
Well, didn't you tell me that Carrasco had retired, what, 26 consecutive hitters leading off innings?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been able to get base hits in the last 2 innings. Their leadoff men aboard, both coming around to score.
Last inning, it started after a bug flew up and got into Carrasco's eye. Had to call time, had the trainer come out, kind of wash the eye out. Then a base hit by Gurriel to right field, followed by a first pitch homer from Colby Rasmus. There's a base hit in the left field, so that's 3 innings in a row now. The Astros have their leadoff man aboard.
Well, there's what you're talking about. He went to throw that pitch and had something in his eye. Trainer came out, put some fluid in there. They got him back. Next pitch, boom. Well, that wasn't the very next pitch, but the guy got a base hit. And the next thing you know, the home run.
Yeah, that was a first pitch homer by Colby Rasmus, and that's the 37th allowed by the Indians this year, which is the 4th most in the majors. Now on the other side of that, the Indians have hit 36 first pitch homers, which is 3rd most. So there's a give and a take.
Yeah,
There's a yin and a yang.
Guys are much more aggressive now.
Alex Bregman, 4 hits in the series as Springer is chased back to first. Bregman with a triple and a homer among his hits. USA Today's minor league player of the year. He's a shortstop by trade, but coming up here, you've got Carlos Correa. So he's been playing third base. Well, with Correa being sent back to Houston to get his shoulder checked out, now Bregman takes over as the interim shortstop.
No, his angle was as much as we shift here. Houston not playing shortstop most of the time anyway.
They had a strike call. And Gurriel, the kid from Cuba who they got, you know, originally they thought he was going to be the third baseman. They got a little bit of a logjam, but it helps to have the kind of guys that can be versatile enough to at least move around and occupy some different spots.
That it does.
Tied him up. Good pitch. And Carlos Carrasco has his 4th strikeout of the night.
This will be our Circle K strikeout. That looked like a slider that sort of backed up. Is what it did. He got underneath it. It stayed up, and he comes up empty swinging. Strikeout number 4, out number 1.
I wonder if the bug infestation has knocked out the out-of-town scoreboard in left field. It's gone blank.
That it has.
And Altuve takes a strike, and Carlos Carrasco at 66 pitches, 45 of those have been strikes.
Altuve just 11 hits shy of 200 for his 3rd consecutive year.
2 quick strikes on him. Altuve came in to the series batting .398 on the road this year. But he was just 2 for 9 in the first couple of games. But with 2 hits here tonight, he's hitting .396. In games away from Houston, Texas.
He's keeping his hands in front of his face, not on his bat until he starts his windup.
Runner goes, and the ball hit in the air in left field. Rajay Davis moving over toward the gap. Makes the catch. 2 down. Injury report tonight brought to you by the attorneys at Elk and Elk. And for the New York Mets, this couldn't come at the worst possible time.
Yeah, he was having a nice year for the Mets.
I'd say both wild card races,
55 rubies.
really interesting.
Yeah, you would think they go down to the last, you know, last day or two.
I mean, the American
When you
League
get to that second one, it usually does.
more so than the National League, but only because Pittsburgh's just kind of faded off. And you know what? Much as I sometimes hate to admit it, your St. Louis Cardinals, they're going to end up probably hosting a playoff game in a wild card.
Well,
Hey,
don't
that's
count. You know what? You
unbelievable.
just say don't count them out. That's
No.
all.
They've won 3 in a row heading into today. Or did they have a day game? They already play Pittsburgh, or is that that's a night game? I think.
Yeah.
We'll go down to Andre here in a second. He's got an update on Yan Gomes as Evan Gattis awaits an 0-1 pitch from Carrasco. What do you got?
Yan Gomes did play tonight in Columbus in the, wait for this, Governor's Cup, as they're playing for the championship down there. He was 0 for 2 with a run and a walk. He will catch again tomorrow, 5 innings. Then he'll DH. He's getting closer to being with the team. Still maybe a week or 2 away. He's not going to travel with the team right away when the team takes off for Minnesota. But things are looking up for him right now. Is he caught tonight? Is he going to catch tomorrow? DH going into the weekend.
Keep him there, and they'll win the Governor's Cup.
You figure as much time as he's missed, you need a little bit of action to get himself.
Absolutely, no question. It was in Minnesota.
Yeah, it was right after the All-Star
break. We're going
break,
back to Minnesota, but it was right after the All-Star break. So
we're talking 2 months.
I know.
Unfortunately, if anybody knows what it takes to come back after missing all that time, it's him, because he did it last year.
Yes.
Different injury altogether, but still. Now the 1-2 to Gattis. Did not miss by a whole bunch.
I want to send out some birthday wishes to Betty Mitchell of Lexington, Ohio, turning 95. Rosemary Kovacic of Hartsgrove is 90. John and Mary Snyder of Elyria celebrating their 75th wedding anniversary. Congratulations to you.
The 2-2. Same pitch, still couldn't get the call. Kaylee Burke celebrating her 15th birthday. And Steve Turkish, who claims he was at your first ever game, played in New York. He's a New York native, but a Tribe fan through and through. He's turning 62.
Well,
that was at Shea Stadium, though, because Yankee
yes,
Stadium
it
was being
75.
renovated.
Yeah, sure was.
Runner goes, payoff pitch, popped him up, back into the seats. All right.
How did that one land? And just
he's
taking
stuck.
a break.
He's stuck.
Nice.
Wow, look at him just coating Carrasco's face.
Yeah, he wants that final out so he can get into the dugout and get rid of him.
Again, the runner goes, and a ground ball to third. Ramirez backs up and throws him out. Leadoff single, never moved from first. Halfway through, 3-2 Houston. Maintenance in between innings for an athletic trainer.
Yet you can't get rid of me sweating. First of all, it's so hot and humid out there. They're sticking to you when they fly and land on you. That's the thing. Get base runners. They have to go out of the stretch and they slow down.
Base hit. Francisco Lindor is 2 for 2. And the Indians have their leadoff man aboard. 4th time in 5 innings.
Well, again, Frankie he doesn't hit it hard, but boy, here's Altuve making the dead run, and he would have had to be 6-6 to make this play. Gets into right field. It's the 6th hit for the Indians. But all the Indians have been singles.
Mike Napoli swats one deep left field. Party time.
Until now.
Home run number 31 for Napoli. And the Indians go back in front.
Well, we said when he hit his homer in the first game, we hope it continues. Home run hitters are streaky, but boy, this was a swing, and I mean, as soon as it left the bat, it cleared a path, all those bugs, all the way to the bleachers.
That was another moonshot. I mean, that thing was probably, what, 12 rows from the top?
That was a bomb.
Jose Ramirez taking a strike. And a ground ball to second. Altuve will throw him out. Well, if there's anybody watching that happens to know specifically what these things are, if they are the midges, let us know. Send Andre a tweeter at Dre Knott. He's a man in the know.
Well, one swing there. The 2-run homer. The home runs are nice. When you're down, you get a guy on base, you hit a bomb. They did it to take the lead in the 4th. The Indians do it here in the 5th.
I'll tell you what, he mashed that baseball. Lonnie Chisenhall's having a good night. He's 2 for 2. Drove in a run in the 3rd. It's just crazy. I mean, the folks in the stands, guys are having their beers. They're drinking it like not a care in the world.
Yeah, what are those guys doing down
Meanwhile,
there?
just 100 or so feet away, these guys are trying not to swallow a bug with every breath they take. Just don't want to ingest them. Out of play. It is a humid night. It was 87 at game time. Still sitting at 86 degrees. Slowing chop to third. Gurriel can't come up with it. And Lonnie Chisenhall with his 3rd hit of the night.
Yeah, this is like a perfectly placed bunt. Look where Gurriel is playing. It's
letting it track deep. We were talking about that last night, I think. Watch where he hits it on the barrel.
Oh my goodness, he took it out of the catcher's glove.
That's unreal.
Well, when they're playing back, you have 2 strikes. It's almost like a perfect bunt.
And we're going to get a visit from the pitching coach, Brent Strom. Double barrel action for the Astros right now. Yandel Gustave and Kevin Chapman, the left-hander. You know, it's interesting, Rick. I was listening to AJ Hinch, and conversation was about the expanded rosters.
Right.
You know, and everybody's got an opinion on this thing because it is kind of goofy. And he was saying, Terry Francona's got 12, 13 relievers in his bullpen. He goes, but the real kicker is we go to play Texas, and Jeff Bannister's got 4 left-handers. So he said, if I've got Colby Rasmus on my bench, he just gets a left-hander up in the 6th, 7th inning just playing catch, just taunting me. Okay, you want to bring him on? I got another lefty for you.
Well, you know what? You're right. Something does.
He's kind of of the opinion with Terry, which is like, let's
set a solid 25, 26-man roster for the series.
For the game, yeah. You can have him up, call him up, but for the game, let's have a 25-man.
I would agree.
Because we're playing the same rules all season long. There's a nice piece of hitting by Rajay Davis, just dumps it into right field. And Lonnie Chisenhall stops at second base. So, 2 on with 1 out.
This is a jam shot, but those are beautiful things sometimes. You get down around the trademark, you fight it off, it falls into play, and it was 1 pitch, and now Hinch comes out, and Doug Fister's night is over. So he is not going to get win number 10 on the road tonight. He is going to head to the showers after 4 hits in this 5th inning. The Indians retake the lead, and they're trying to add on from here.
So, Fister exits stage right. And the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen is for the left-hander, Kevin Chapman. By your local Toyota dealers. Indians scored first tonight. Roberto Perez with an RBI single with a couple out in the 2nd inning. Astros tied it. Indians went back ahead on Lonnie Chisenhall. RBI single. Astros went ahead, and then Mike Napoli put the Indians back in front with a 2-run homer, his 31st of the season. And they're still batting in the inning with 2 on. Only 1 out. They've knocked Doug Fister out. And the left-hander is Kevin Chapman.
Well, and this bullpen has logged some innings. They've had a good first 2 days here. They pitched 9 1/3 innings. They gave up a couple of runs yesterday, but the Indians hitters just 2 for 30 against them, and they have pounded the strike zone. 19 of the 30 batters faced have been down on the count 0-2, 1-2. So they've been very aggressive coming out throwing strikes to these guys. We'll see if the Indians can add on.
All right, Brandon Guyer going to pinch hit for Naquin with the lefty on the hill, and he takes inside ball 1. Naquin 0 for 1 was hit by a pitch tonight. I was reading something about Brandon Guyer. He's got, I don't want to say it's unusual, but a very healthy kind of diet that he keeps to, and part of the things that there's a ball hit pretty well. Deep left center. Back is Marisnik. He won't get it. One hops the wall. Scoring is Chisenhall. Rajay Davis right on his heels scores 2. A 2-run double for Geyer. A spot that has been troublesome for Cleveland. The pinch hit role. But Geyer delivers big time here. His first pinch hit of the year. He was 0 for 10 in that category before this rocket.
Well, I like having an RBI sandwich right here. Speaking of his diet, and it short hops the wall, and it's nice to have Davis on first base when you hit a gap, because you know what? Once he realized it was going to fall, you can forget about it, because you know he's going to score the way he can run. So it's an RBI double, one hitter faced. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, he eats these like protein bars that have some kind of crickets in them. So
nice.
I guess the midges don't
Maybe
bother
that's what
him.
brought. That's right. They are friends.
They are a protein source, my friend. Timeout for another pitching change. Indians with a 4 spot here in the 5th. The baseball and the bugs. At times they've resembled snowflakes.
Yeah,
they're a little more troublesome than that.
Well, they are to the players, because they're not stopping with any one person. They're going everywhere. They are out there in full force. The only way you can get away from is get in the dugout and stay there for a while. And that's the best thing to do. Get that pitcher out of the stretch and let him stay out there with all the bugs. Don't bug me.
Roberto Perez taking it's a called strike from Yandel Gustave. Big swing comes up empty. 0-2. Tried to frame it, but it was off the plate. You could see Castro just try to bring his glove back ever so slightly.
Yeah, It looked like a good pitch. It was a teaser.
The 2-2, and that's out of play to the right side. Now we lamented the fact that early in this game the Indians were having a tough time getting the clutch hit to get the offense rolling. But it was a 2-out hit with runners in scoring position. It got him on the board first.
That's what you need, that first one early, and this is the guy that got it was Perez, and they've been rolling. You know, tonight they're 7 for 15 with runners on base. First 2 games they were 3 for 26 total, so
yeah,
that's a huge difference.
And that guy right there, that was a monster home run he hit.
Well, it was their first extra base hit. They had 6 singles to that point, and then all of a sudden, boom, one swing of the bat gives them the lead, and they have 3 more hits in the inning. So it's a contagious thing. You know, when one guy gets it, they seem to relax.
The 8th pitch of the at bat here for Roberto Perez. Another foul back. And you know, Arch, because Napoli averages better than 4.5 pitches per plate appearance, there's maybe sort of this misnomer that he's a guy that just sits and waits and takes and all that kind of stuff. But when he gets after the first pitch,
which he does a lot,
38 at bats this year, he's got 42 total bases, 3rd out of 197 everyday players. There's a broken bat, foul.
Yeah,
So,
he takes his time. He gets aggressive when he can. And then all of a sudden we've seen him down and pitches. You know, pitchers will pitch him breaking balls. They try to pitch him in, get him off the plate, and he works his way back into the count.
and this leads back to that stat we had earlier about the first pitch homers. The Indians have given up a bunch. They've also hit a bunch.
Yes.
You know, there's something to be said for when you go up to the plate as a hitter, looking for something specific on that first pitch, and if you get it, don't let it just
get after it. There's nothing wrong with that. Go up there to hit. You take the pitch if it's, you know, maybe a breaking ball or a changeup first pitch, you spit on it. But if you get your first fastball you like, swing it.
low, full count. Well, this has been a heck of an at bat for Roberto Perez.
Well, he's worked his way into a count. A guy that's been pitching very well. Pitched a scoreless inning Monday. He's been scoreless in his last 5 outings. Indians still with just 1 out in the inning.
And a broken bat bouncer to second. Altuve will throw him out. Brandon Guyer moves to third. Our great clip of the game from last night, Carlos Santana with home run number 29. Tonight he's walked twice. And while his walks seem to be on the rise, he's walked 11 times on the homestand. The home runs have also, I guess, been on a bit of an uptick. Although, you know, you look at it, you could say, you know, he's maybe hitting a few more on average, but Napoli's also cooled off a little bit, so they're almost neck and neck for the team lead.
Career high for Carlos. He has 16 of his home runs here in this ballpark. 13 on the road. He's been consistent.
Santana hit 7 homers in the month of June, 6 in July, 6 in August.
Yeah, and the bulk of those home runs, 25, have come from this side of the plate.
Right. Home run last night, his first here in the month of September. We're now a week into the final month of the campaign. We will, however, play 2 games into the month of October to wrap up the regular season. Geyer at third, 2 down, and the 1-2 on its way. Look out. Ball had some steam on it. Hit off the facing on the club seats. And he strikes him out to end the inning. But Mike Napoli and Brandon Geyer. Napoli a 2-run homer. Geyer a pinch hit 2-run double. And the Indians lead it 6-3.
Postseason tickets by purchasing 2017 Indians season tickets. Plus, you'll get access to tickets for opening day, team shop discounts, tribe rewards, and more. Visit Indians.com/postseason for more details.
First ball swinging. Yuli Gurriel pops one to shallow right. And Lonnie Chisenhall is there to make the catch one away. Defensively now for Cleveland, Rajai Davis moves from left field over to center. And the new left fielder is Brandon Geyer. Down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, in this day and age of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It was Popper.
Yeah.
Who delivered the information to us. I think we might have a new social media platform here.
Well, we haven't seen him a whole lot this year. He's been hiding.
Everybody's going to want to be on Popper. Yeah, he came in, and a friend of his said that these are, in fact, the infamous lake midges, though they seem to have lessened for the time being.
Come in here in the spring and the summer, usually when the lake's around 60, but it's still about 74 degrees, I believe.
I think they were worse like an inning ago. They seem to have backed off a bit.
They were on attack. Tribe scored 4.
Yeah, that's right. We stirred the air. Fun attempt by Rasmus. He saw the shift and maybe was just going to try to get aboard.
Well, you got to put it in play. If we do it with 2 strikes, you got to do it. He was just looking for a single. You know what? People say, what are you, crazy? You're stupid. Really, if he gets it down, it's not a bad play, but you have to get it down with 2 strikes.
Well, my thinking is, if this is a guy that just couldn't hit Carrasco no matter what, I have no problem with this.
Yeah.
He just hit a 2-run homer off him last time up. So for me, with 2 strikes, I don't get that.
I would agree. Well, he's down 3 runs now, so you're in the 6th inning, and I'm thinking he thinks you need base runners, which you do. But with 2 strikes, that's a risky play.
Gives Carrasco his 5th strikeout of the night.
Carlos still in pretty good shape. 83 pitches here into the 6th. Carlos on the year has been a better pitcher on the road. He has more wins. He's 6-4. At home, he's 4-3. His ERA here is 4.22. On the road, it just went over 2. It's 2.02.
Now the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, and that'll even the count. That's a dynamite pitch. And you saw Gonzalez. He did this the other night. He swung and missed, and he came off with that hand kind of shaking it a little bit.
Maybe when you get fooled, you see it's the bottom hand. It might be something, you know, that he has. One of those fingers gets stuck or something. And he has to take a little time to get the stinging out of there.
The 2-2. A little bit inside and a full count. It's like all of a sudden they've just vanished, and that's a good thing.
They have a 9 o'clock curfew.
That's beautiful. The payoff a little low, and we'll go down to Andre.
Well, no, just like when you talk about rain, since you guys are dry, they're still here. I don't know if the camera that's right underneath me can show you. They're still here. I think these are the ones that just break the code. Now, you had everybody tweet me, and thanks for ruining Twitter for me for the rest of the night. I've had everything from midges, oak mites, crane flies, Canadian soldiers, maybugs, dryer sheets in the hats. They continue to come in. I can't even keep up on Twitter, so thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
I'll send them all your way all night long, buddy.
I'm here for you.
Andre, go get a dryer sheet and put it on that head. Let's go.
I need my helmet back. This has been a scary series.
Jason Castro swings at the first pitch, and Napoli will flip it to second for the inning-ending force. 6 strong for Carlos Carrasco, and the Indians lead it 6-3. You catch UFC 203 on pay-per-view. Our own Stipe Miocic defends his UFC World Heavyweight title against Alistair Overeem. Contact your cable or satellite provider for purchase details and all the information. Andre tells me Overeem is one big human being. So Stipe will certainly have his hands full, but we're all pulling for him. He brought home our first world crown this year and kind of got the ball rolling for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, good luck. Saturday night right here, huh?
Yes, sir.
Next door.
Jason Kipnis leading off this home half of the 6th inning. He's 0 for 2 with the walk. And a foul out of play. Down on the dirt.
That last inning when the Indians were able to score 4, get 5 hits in that inning, they saw 31 pitches. They swung at 20 of them.
There's a fly ball to left. And Rasmus has that for out number 1. T-Mobile, greater coverage of baseball. All right, this is a good one. Most home runs in the American League Central Division, or against the American League Central Division, I should say. Jim Thome at 29 and 02. Dozier has hit 28 this year. Griffey Jr. back in '99 hit 28. And Thome again in 01 at 25.
I mean, that's impressive. I mean, you got two legitimate
Jim Thome,
powers. Yeah, right.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
and Brian Dozier.
Yeah, what's wrong with this picture?
Line drive, base hit to left. Nothing wrong with that pitcher. It's another 3-hit game for Francisco Lindor.
He comes out and what's that, 23 now?
Yes, sir. Number 1 of the majors.
But he is right. As he told Andre, he says, hey, when I get one, I just forget about it, go back up there, and he forgets. But good hitters, they continue to add on.
He's already got a 4-hit game on this homestand, and if they wouldn't have hit him with a pitch back in the 3rd inning, he might already have a 4-hit game tonight. Now Napoli.
You see that? That's that first pitch he goes after.
Don't you love it, though?
He didn't leave anything in the bag. He went after it.
He's got that kind of effect on the crowd. He swings and misses, and you can hear the whole crowd gasp. Popped him up, broke his bat, sounded like it. And Altuve makes the catch. In 38 at bats, in which he has put that first pitch in play, he's got a slugging percentage of over 1,100.
You know, he gets after it. And, you know, when you know you're getting your pitch or you get a great pitch to hit, you should hit it hard, and that's why that slugging percentage is up there. He has tremendous power.
Runner goes. Lindor had a good jump, and he's in there with a stolen base. That's number 17 for Frankie.
Take a look at the jump over there. Pretty good jump. Not a great one, but he outruns it. Goes in there head first, steals it easily.
And a chance for Ramirez with 2 outs, which has been his specialty all year long. And a foul right back. Makes it 1-1. goes off the glove, but not far enough for Lindor to advance. And especially with 2 outs.
Yeah, you're in scoring position. No need.
And away. Andel Gustave came on and retired the final 2 hitters of that 5th inning. And he has 2 outs here in the 6th, but Lindor in scoring position. And the 3-1 pitch. Ramirez pulls a foul. This is where things get interesting with Ramirez, because he's just put up some head-scratching numbers this year. Orange, this is impressive to me in that with 2 strikes, he has put 49% of his swings in play. That's usually a pitcher, that's when he's trying to put you away.
Right. He's in control.
It doesn't mean he's getting hit every time, but 50% of the time with 2 strikes, he's still going to put you in play.
That's why he's such a tough guy to strike out. Here's another guy. You heard me talk about Altuve, get the bat to the ball. This guy can get the bat to the ball. You know, you don't see him take many wild swings and get fooled too often. He always seems on balance, under control, and he puts a good swing on it, and he hits it where it's pitched for the most part.
And a ground ball. Backhanded by Gonzalez. Close play at first. Look at Ramirez busted it down the line. And it was a bang-bang play at first on what usually is a routine play. We've played 6, and the Indians lead it 6-3. Indians baseball is brought to you by Ford, built Ford tough. By the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio. And by Adventure, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. How about that look? Dark side of the moon we're traveling over to.
Nice.
6-3. Indians lead it here in the 7th inning. Jake Marisnick will lead off. And a pitch outside, ball 1. Carlos Carrasco has allowed 3 runs, 8 hits, has struck out 5. He's battled the bugs, he's battled the bats. And he's got 1 out here in the 7th. Roberto Clemente being celebrated by Major League Baseball throughout the games being played all over the country. And Carlos Carrasco honored as the Indians nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award. And I enjoyed his interview that we ran right at the top of the show with Andre, talking about the various things that he's tried to do out in the community, and not just lip service, not just show up, wave and shake a few hands, but he's tried to get involved. And I was particularly moved by the part where he was talking about when he went to read to the kids. He said, I realized I need to get better at reading. I need to work on my own skills. And but he really has done a nice job of putting himself out there. And you might have heard Jensen Lewis say how he's transferred himself just as a person. When he first came over to the Indians, Jensen said he went 2 weeks, might not have said a word to anybody. That ball's hit a long way, deep to left. Back is Geyer, and leaps up, makes a phenomenal catch. Oh, baby. And a big smile from Carrasco.
Yeah, you always love that. I didn't know if he was going to get back there. He had it timed, and I didn't think he had any more room, but he timed his jump beautifully. And takes an extra base hit away from Springer. Watch it. That was a great time jump, and makes the catch. Well done.
And Carrasco loves it.
Why wouldn't you?
That'll bring up Alex Bregman, who is 1 for 3. But I think Carrasco is really, he has embodied one of my favorite quotes from Roberto Clemente was, anytime you have an opportunity to make a difference in this world and you don't, you're wasting your time on this earth. And I think that's the spirit in which the Roberto Clemente Award is given out. And to me, Carlos has kind of embodied that.
You know, it's an honor that every team has a representative, but at the World Series, there's only one winner.
Correct.
So, you know, but the thing of it is, just to be a representative is something pretty special.
You know, Archie, they always say that, like, you know, the Oscars and the Emmys, they always say, oh, it's just an honor to be nominated. They all want to win it bad.
Yeah.
But this is one award where I think you're exactly right. Just to be nominated for the Clemente Award is award enough. A 1-2-3-7 for Cookie. Stretch time in Cleveland. Well, and now here in the bottom of the 7th, he's hoping to see the offense go out and do a little more of this. Lonnie Chisenhall has a 3-hit night. The first 2 solid base hits. The last one, as they say, he'll take it.
Yeah, well, he stay on it, and that one he let it track deep into the zone, and they were playing deep with 2 strikes and couldn't get it out. You get your 3rd hit, and it's a good night.
So both he and Lindor have 3 hits in the ball game. And you look at the bottom part of the order, Rick. Lonnie batting 6th has 3 hits. Rajay in the 7th hole has scored 2 runs. Brandon Guyer, who pinch hit, has 2 RBIs out of the 8th spot, and Roberto Perez, batting 9th, has an RBI single.
Yes, nice when you get a little production down at the bottom part.
Right-handed sidearm slinger Pat Neshek. Yandel Gustave went an inning and 2/3. There's a high fly ball, deep right. Back is Springer, and just onto the warning track. 1 away. Time for an in-game update. Back to the studios. Here's Ashley Collins.
Thanks, Matt. Some bad news this time, but not for you guys. For Nationals fans, Steven Strasburg making his return from the DL, exiting the game after pitching 2 scoreless innings. He allowed a leadoff double, got a strikeout before the training staff came out, and his night was over. They are tied with the Braves right now at 1, top of the 4th, guys.
Boy,
he has a tough time staying healthy, doesn't he?
Yeah, that could really put a damper on their hopes.
Yeah, you don't want to see anybody go down at this time of year when you're with the lead that they have.
Kind of reminds me, as you take a look at the numbers for Pat Neshek, I saw, was it today or was it last night? No, I'm losing track, Arts. I don't remember if Ashley showed it to us earlier or if I watched it last night where Plouffe,
he's out.
The oblique thing.
He's done for the year.
Was right in the middle of an at-bat.
I think it was last night.
He had to walk off.
Yeah, he's done for the year. Done for the year. He came back.
And he was swinging the bat well when they were here in Cleveland.
Yeah, last time we played him. That's right.
Brandon Guyer came on in the 5th in a pinch hit role. And that turns out to be a key spot in this game right now because the Indians had taken the lead 4-3. And Houston skipper A.J. Hinch had gone to his bullpen for the lefty Chapman because Naquin was coming up. Tito goes to the bench, pinch hits Guyer. And even though Guyer was 0 for 10 as a pinch hitter on the year, wraps a 2-run double to left, made it 6-3.
Yeah, it gives you that little bit of cushion, that insurance. That was a huge hit. You can get some performance off the bench. That's tremendous. And he drove in the pair. That gave him the 4-run, 5-hit inning. You like those crooked numbers.
And now he's got another base hit. He's 2 for 2.
Well, he felt so good about that first hit, he wanted to double up. You know, he's had a good night and not being in there for just about an inning. There's the double. Goes to left center field. That drives in the pair. And then he goes out defensively. And what's he do? Oh, let me take a double away from George Springer. Timed his jump beautifully. Then goes back up there and gets himself another knock. How about that?
That's I think a product too of how Terry Francona, even though this is September and you've got a ton of people in that dugout, he uses his bench so those guys are always ready. You want your bench players to be ready at a moment's notice. These guys are because they get used.
Yeah, well, they get used. You're right. He uses more of them in the American League than, you know, it's almost like he's managing a National League team at times. Because with the bottom part of the lineup with Perez in there and with Naquin against lefties and the way he does Chisenhall, you better be ready to play at any given time when they make a change.
Fly ball to center. Marisnik makes the catch. 7 on the books. 6-3 Cleveland. Telecast is presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Eighth inning. Indians up 6-3. Carlos Carrasco just under 100 pitches on the night. And Carrasco will go to work against Altuve, Gaddis, and Gurriel. Jose Altuve has 2 hits and a run batted in.
That's why you can go out there and try and go through the 8th inning. Carrasco with his 97th pitch. He's had 12 outs on 3 pitches or less. And CC in his last his last 6 starts, 52 strikeouts and 3 walks. And one of those walks was intentional. That's how we were talking, how he just throws strikes and sometimes a few change-ups get away from him, but boy, he tightens it back up and gets right back into the strike zone.
Which is why, you know, sometimes we maybe get a little bit overly concerned when he gives up 2 or 3 hits here and there, because you know what he's going to, because he's throwing strikes, he's in the zone.
They spoil you is what they do. That's what you call good pitching. You get used to it, and he gives up back-to-back hits. You're going, wait a minute.
Jose Altuve just spoiled a good bat. That thing split right down the middle. Andrew Miller, he's looking to come into this ball game. You've got Rasmus, the switch hitter, Gonzalez, and Castro coming up for the Astros. But watch this bat absolutely split right in half.
Nice
Boom.
little slider. Yeah, it did. Quickly.
Thing split almost from the barrel to the handle right
Yes,
in
it
half.
did. Shattered.
Evan Gaddis yanks one to left. That'll get down and go to the wall. He's going to go to second, and he's got a 1-out double.
Well, he wasn't going to hesitate. He gets down and he hit himself a slider. Gaddis, he struck out, hit into a double play, grounded out to third. And I think that's going to do it for Carlos Carrasco. His teammates on the infield come in and give him a pat on the back and say, way to go, before his manager gets there to take the ball from him.
Well, as I stated earlier, he had to battle the bats and the bugs. And he did a fine job when the Indians needed him. He'll depart. He can win it. Cannot lose it. 1 out here in the 8th. Indians up 3. Ball, and the Indians are 2.
The ice cream is still kicking in. Nice start for Carrasco. 7 1/3, 9 hits. Turn it over to Miller. Appearing for the 59th time.
Yuli Gurriel looks at a pitch that's a little bit up and away, ball 1. Swings and fouls it. Gurriel 1 out of 3 with a single and a run scored back in the 4th. Hammered foul.
That's about all you could do with that pitch when it's bearing down in. If you want to hit it hard, you almost have to pull it foul. Unless he leaves it out over the plate or to the outside part of the plate.
Pinch hitter for the left-handed hitting Colby Rasmus on deck. In the dirt. 2-2. Hit a long way deep left field, and Yuli Gurriel has just hit a big home run for Houston. It's a 2-run smash, and it's a 1-run game at 6-5. Tell you what, the way he was swinging, you could almost tell that he really felt pretty comfortable, and we haven't seen many hitters look comfortable against Andrew Miller.
He never threw him a fastball. Every pitch was a slider right there, and this one I bet was out over the plate. They wanted it in, and I said he's not going to hit it fair unless you leave it out there, and he sure did. He never took him off the slider. Every pitch was a breaking ball, and he made a mistake with that one. But Gurriel hit it out of the ballpark, his first home run. So he brings him right back into the game now, 6-5.
For Houston, batting for Rasmus, number 35.
And so that'll bring up the pinch hitter, except it's not Tyler White. Tyler White was in the on deck circle. Instead, it will be Teoscar Hernandez.
Check out the swing here. He's going to get out front to get this breaking ball, but it was away. It was off the front foot. His back foot comes off the ground. Well, it's quickly 0-2 now. First pitch fastball strike, then the slider.
Fouled away. Watch Roberto Clemente. Watch the back foot come up off the ground.
Yeah, look at this is similar. Watch this. On Roberto Clemente night.
And now watch
this guy
Gurriel.
gets it, and he gets his up off the ground.
Swung out and missed. He blew it by him. 96-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 down.
There comes the fastball away, and no chance. Overmatched right there. Throws it by him, gets the second out of the inning, and Miller gets his first strikeout.
You know, the story of how Clemente ended up with the Pirates is one of those ones that's kind of lost in the lore of baseball. He was originally signed by the Dodgers. And the story goes the Dodgers only signed him in *54 to keep the Giants from getting him, because they were battling each other for the National League pennant, the Giants and the Dodgers.
Right.
Remember, the Giants won it, lost to the went to the Indians, went to the World Series and beat the Indians in '54. But that was the year that Clemente was available, and they were both vying for him, and the Dodgers ended up outbidding them. But at that time there was no draft, so if you signed a guy over a certain amount of money, it was called a bonus pick. He had to go immediately onto your major league roster for 2 years. And the Dodgers didn't really have a fit for him because they were a world championship contending club. So they sent him down to the minors, and Branch Rickey was running the Pirates by then. He knew all about the Dodgers system.
Sure.
He knew Clemente was there. They snatched him up. It was like a Rule 5 pick. And there's a base hit to left by Marwin Gonzalez, who continues to swing a hot bat for Houston.
Well, you get another slider. That one stayed middle of the plate as well. And they're taking advantage of both hits that Miller's given up have come on the breaking ball. So now the tying run is aboard here in the 8th with 2 outs. Well, one of our own that spent 40 years in this organization, Louis Isaac. He's the one that Clemente got Louis over to the Pittsburgh, didn't he, when he signed him? And he lived down the street.
He grew up.
I don't know many of you people know who Louis Isaac is. He was here as a bullpen coach, and he was with Charlie Manuel for many years down in the minor leagues. And he was actually, I played with him in 1972 as like a player coach.
Right.
And he was Dennis Eckersley's personal catcher, but he told us stories about Roberto all the time. And I mean, special guy. Louis wasn't a great baseball player, never made it to the big leagues, but he was a lifer in the game, and he spent all of his life with the Cleveland Indians.
Tyler White does get the pinch hit after he was in the on-deck circle when Colby Rasmus's spot came up, but they went with Teoscar Hernandez there, and he struck out. Now White does indeed bat for Castro with 2 outs and the tying run at first base.
Tyler White was the guy that got off to such a great start this year playing first base for Houston. And they were looking to find a spot for him. Almost reminds you of Gaddis the way he swings, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's got that little crouch, and he's open a little bit more. And I don't think as strong, but he generates some bat speed.
Not as burly.
Yeah.
As the Bear.
That's his little brother. That's the Cub.
That's a Cubby. This crowd of just over 12,000. A little nervous here after the Indians had a 6-3 lead. By the way, 4 runs tonight will be charged to Carrasco after Miller gave up the 2-run shot to Gurriel. And it's cut the gap to 1 run. Now the 1-2. No, throw to first instead. Miller looks in. Swung out and missed. He blew it by him. Good pitching by Andrew Miller to get out of the inning, but a big swing of the bat by Cuban native Yuli Gurriel has closed the gap to a run. Jim Donovan, Doug Deacon, and Tony Grossi. They'll preview this weekend's opening kickoff and the upcoming season. Get inside the red zone Thursday night at 8 right here on Sports Time Ohio. Doug Deacon knows a thing or two about the pesky Lake Erie midges. Tony Sipp coming on now for the Astros. His second action in the series.
Well, that first time, Matt, he came in game 1. I'll tell you one thing. It was a new guy from what I saw. He was basically all changeups. So I don't know if it's a split that he throws, but it was very slow, and he stayed with it. And
yeah, it was a good pitch for him in that
2/3 of an inning. He had a strikeout, and everybody was out in front of the pitch. He used to be just a fastball slider guy.
Indians lead by a run here as Carlos Santana leads off. And a pitch inside, ball 1.
That's like a show pitch there from what we saw the other night.
He didn't go, says Jim Joyce down at first. Celebrating the life of Roberto Clemente throughout Major League Baseball. Clemente finished his career with exactly 3,000 hits. And he got his 3,000th hit at the end of the 1972 season. It's hard to imagine when you think back on it. September 30th, 1972. He's sitting on 2,999 career hits. The Pirates have clinched the division. They're the reigning world champions. You know how many people showed up to watch him play that day?
I don't.
Just a few more than we have here tonight. 13,000 was the attendance.
No kidding.
But those who were there, saw history.
And saw his last hit. You're right. As I told you, that was the first game I ever saw in the big leagues. The big league ballpark was in Old Forbes Field.
Yeah, this was at Three River Stadium. They had already moved into the new place. The Forbes Field, man, that was a huge outfield, and he was so good at patrolling it with that arm.
Great arm, speed. He could do it all. You talk about 5-tool players. He was exactly that.
You know, Sandy Alomar and I used to talk about it when Sandy was playing. How many players from Puerto Rico, like Sandy, that grew up way after Clemente, and many of which you never saw him play, and yet still honor him as though they knew him, because that's how his presence still permeates the entire area in Puerto Rico. And maybe, Arch, it's a product of someone dying in their prime in a heroic fashion that he did. But he truly was elevated from mortal to godlike status, if he wasn't already in the eyes of those.
Because back then baseball was just a sport. You know, there wasn't a lot of guys had to work in the off season and do other things to, you know, to subsidize and pay for their family. This guy was taking care of you know, country and helping. And the quote that you just whoa, that one took off. What you said, if you can help somebody and you don't,
you're wasting your time.
You're wasting your time. It makes all the sense in the world if you believe that as a person. You're something very special.
Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Puerto Rico's own Francisco Lindor with his 23rd 3-hit game of the season. Boy, would Clemente be proud of this young man, the way he has represented himself and his native land since he has come to the big leagues. I go back to the 1930s since anybody had this many in a season. Inside, he missed. 2-0. Well, and that's the other thing too about Clemente is that when that earthquake happened, it wasn't like it was his hometown. It wasn't even Puerto Rico. It was in Nicaragua.
Right.
But that was the humanitarian. He saw people in need, and supplies were being ripped off. Fly ball, deep to left, not deep enough though. Hernandez will make the catch. And Clemente was so fumed about the fact that the supplies were not getting to the people that needed them that he said, you know what, I'm going on this plane. I'm going to make sure it gets to the people that the supplies need to get to. And the plane was perilously overloaded. Should have probably never left the ground from the stories I've read. And unfortunately, he perished in a plane crash. And the story, obviously, with a very tragic ending. Timeout here at Progressive Field. Indians clinging to a 1-run lead. Astros make a pitching change. We'll be right back. The bat right here hit a boom shot. Watch this on Fox Vision, how far this baby travels.
29.
I don't know why it seems farther than that.
I know, it
see
does.
how far it goes up those bleachers. But yes, indeed, the party at Napoli's continues. Remember earlier this year, he hit one more toward center than that one tonight, and it was
the next
almost
section
to
over.
almost to the very top row where John Adams, it bounced right in front of him. Well, here's Napoli trying to do some two-out damage. James Hoyt, right-hander, delivers. Hoyt worked an inning and a third of scoreless relief.
You got the win last night, right?
Yes. Yeah, you believe he did, yeah.
Sure did.
Struck out a pair.
It was their bullpen game, and they had to cover 5 1/3 innings.
Fouls it straight back in the count 0-2, and he is upset because that was a fastball. He had it eyed up. Looked like he had it squared up, but not quite.
Yeah, but what Napoli has done a few times this year, when you get to this count, he's changed his approach. Instead of trying to pull it and hit it so far, he has taken time to try to hit it up the middle and shorten his swing. See, that one he didn't try to hit into the left field bleachers. He just tried to, you know, put it in play. But it was, you know, it was elevated. It was a ball. But 0-2, he was able to get to it just to live for another pitch.
You always say that high fastball is the one you see so well. It's hard to not swing at.
Yeah, it's hard to not swing at it, but it's really tough to get on top of it.
Breaking ball, and he shot it the other way foul.
This is the breaking ball that, you know, he had to double clutch and just wait. Once you realize it's not going to be the fastball, okay, I'm going to get another chance.
Oh, he chased one in the dirt, and that will end the inning. We'll go to the ninth. Indians try to hold on to a 1-run lead.
The Tribe as he'll try to close it out. Indians lead down to a run after Houston got a couple last inning. Welcome to the corner along with Jensen Lewis, Al Pulowski, and boy, this Houston Astros team has given the Indians all they can handle in this series.
I didn't expect what happened with Andrew Miller, but you're in the right spot. You got the right guy on the hill. Now getting out number one. You don't want anybody on base for Jose Altuve.
All right, make sure you join us for Indians Live coming up immediately following this one. It's brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. For the ninth, back upstairs we go. Here are Matt and Rick, guys.
Well, we will see. Cody Allen getting a chance to nail it down for the Indians. He's got Jake Marisnick, Springer, Bregman, as Jensen just alluded to. If anybody gets on, then you've got to deal with Jose Altuve.
Yes, indeed.
Marisnick 0 for 3 on the night. He's going to be lifted for a pinch hitter. We get Tony Kemp. That's Jensen's guy.
Yes, it is.
The Vanderbilt Commodore, Tony Kemp. The other night he was 0 for 3 with a walk. A.J. Hinch was talking about the situation that his team is in. When you're chasing, you've got to manage with urgency. You can't sit back and say, well, we can sit and rest so-and-so. He said there's just, you don't have that opportunity. Sure, you have these extra players, and it's nice, like a situation like this, he's able to pinch hit a Tony Kemp because he's got the extra guys on his bench. And the Astros get their leadoff man aboard, but he said, you know, they're going home to play the Cubs. And he said, you know, the Cubs have a comfortable lead. He said, I'm hoping Joe Madden decides to maybe give Chris Bryant the whole weekend off. That'd be fine, but, you know, fine by me.
Look, you're playing like every day's a playoff game. You've got to win to get in. And that's exactly how you have to play it. And they get their start they were looking for. That leadoff man gets aboard.
Cody Allen Now has George Springer, who is 2 for 4 with a single, a double, and a run scored. Flied to deep left his last time up. And it was a great play by Brandon Guyer that kept him from extra bases. Evan Gattis goes to the on-deck circle to tell something.
Yeah, a little scouting report to the youngster.
Alex Bregman, yeah.
I'm sure as a right-hander went out and shouted out a little scouting report.
Check. He went. No,
good.
Didn't matter. Called strike.
Yeah, it was a great pitch. 2-0 down at the knees. Down. That's what you want. See the glove? It's right there. Whether he swung or not, it doesn't matter. That's a good pitch. That's ground ball territory.
Swung on and missed. He went up the ladder. Springer couldn't get that high. It's 2-2.
Well, he went upstairs with this. Don't know if that was intentional, Matt, but it was out of the strike zone, but he got Springer to chase it. Well, now he gets himself back into the count.
Now the 2-2. Swung on and missed. He threw it by him. 95 miles an hour. And there's one gone on the night.
Didn't mess around. Fell behind. Let's look at the sequence. And it was all heat from Cody. There it is. A little upstairs. Ball one. He was up with everything. Then he throws a low dart right there. Takes him off that. And then he chases the one where he took the first two pitches and then just reared back and threw another one right by him. Nothing there. Just give me your best. And he beat him to get the first out.
Alex Bregman 1 out of 4 on the night. Swung on and missed. All the scouting reports in the world can't help you if Cody Allen can command that fastball and hit that spot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, first time he's going to face him. This young man has had a pretty good series.
Bregman asks for time as he looks down to his third base coach, Gary Pettis. Make sure he's got whatever sign he wanted to relay.
I don't know if Houston relays a hit sign or not.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it's bunting.
No, there's nothing else going on. He's just taking some time to step out of the box.
Out right back. Now he is not messing around here tonight.
All fastballs.
Not that he's ever messing around, but you know, sometimes he'll
start out
yeah.
curveball. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but right now he's establishing that heater. All 10 pitches have been fastballs.
The 0-2. Not where he wanted it.
Well, when you get to that 0-2 count, you have an opportunity you can take and try and get a little extra on it, but That one got way out of the zone. No chance of him swinging at that one.
You'll notice Cody, he starts with the knuckle curve grip and then changes to whatever he wants to do here. It's been all heaters so far. Another fastball, blew it by him. 2 down.
He went right at him. Just another fastball, was inside a little bit more, and he couldn't get the barrel head. He just threw it by him. He went at it inside and attacked him. They'll come back, and after the leadoff single, 2 big strikeouts. Now 1 out away from a save here, and the Indians getting their first win in this series.
But a big out stands in his way. Jose Altuve, who is 2 for 4 tonight. 4 hits in the series. He drove in a run back in the 3rd. Tony Kemp, the tying run at first base. Foul back our way. To the upper deck it goes, and it's 0-1. Altuve's faced Cody Allen. He's seen her 7 times. Couple of knocks, couple of strikeouts. Oh, 1 pitch. Tough spot when you're A.J. Hinch. Well, really not a tough spot. On one hand, you'd love to have the opportunity to get Kemp in a scoring position, but he can't get thrown out with your best hitter at the plate.
Oh no, you got to let those sirree. The way this guy swings at the extra base hits, he has what, 60 extra base hits.
Oh, what a pitch! He finally broke out a little wrinkle, and Altuve. Not that it was a perfect pitch location-wise, but it was perfect for where Cody wanted it. Altuve thought it might have been wide. Called a strike, and it's 1-2. Another one. And Altuve.
Ooh, that was a good one. That was a tough one to lay off.
Such good discipline to lay off. That's why he's a great hitter.
It starts in the zone and it finishes off the plate and out of the zone.
Game's on the line. Most guys would have spun themselves into the dirt. And now the 2-2 from Cody. Win number 80 as Cody pumps the fastball by Altuve to end the night with 3 straight strikeouts. Carlos Carrasco will get the win, his 11th on the year. Cody Allen will pick up his 25th save, and the Indians are 80 and 58 on the year, as they have a chance now to split this series in the noon finale tomorrow. With the loss, Houston falls to 74 and 65. And a tough loss for the Astros, because this was a chance for them to gain ground on both Baltimore and Detroit, who lost earlier today. But for the Indians, it's a huge win because they pick up a game in the standings. The Tigers started the day 4.5 back. They're now 5.5 behind Cleveland after the Tigers lost to the White Sox this afternoon.
So nice win. Nice win today to come back. Carrasco pitched pretty good. I thought he threw the ball well. They came up. They scored when they had to. The long ball helped. Big pinch hit by the Tribe drove in a pair to give them that bonus run, that 3-run lead, and they certainly needed every run.
Yeah, the thing that was missing was there tonight. The hit with the runner in scoring position. That really got him off and running. And they end up with the victory. So the final score tonight is Cleveland 6, Houston 5. And we'll be back with some final thoughts right after this.